What's going on, my peeps? So what's one unique thing I would add to each killer in Dead by Daylight? These are mainly things like cosmetics, add-ons, Mories, Easter eggs, types of hidden details I think will be great. Some of the things I mentioned from previous videos that I think will still be great for killers, and all that good stuff. Trapper can throw a unique modified bear trap to the ground from a 5-meter range from where he's standing, only for it to activate 3 seconds after throwing it. However, the modified trap will continuously activate and reactivate by itself. Basically, once the trap is thrown, it will go like 1, 2, 3 open, then 1, 2, 3 close. This process will repeat for the modified trap until it is picked up. This is one controversial way to start the video, I guess, but can you imagine? This is just something that came up in my head as an experiment. I'll be curious to see how it works in the regular game. Would it be as effective as it may sound, or would it just easily be countered by survivors? I see it being 50-50 scenarios where survivors can potentially run into the anticipated trap due to misjudgment on timing or just where that positioning is on the map. However, I see other scenarios where the survivor would just immediately drop the loop to find somewhere else to loop if they can. Then again, that can be a play on Trapper's part for baiting them with the trap to begin with, sacrificing the trap just to get them to move onto another loop. How would you guys feel if Trapper had a modified bear trap that he can throw to the ground? Reptile skin from Mortal Kombat. I mentioned this before in one of my videos, but I genuinely believe we can see Mortal Kombat arrive as a chapter one day into the fog. Along with that, MK chapter can bring some really cool skins into the game. Reptile, who is a fighter in MK, has an ability where he can turn completely invisible. So why not make him a legendary skin for Wraith? The cherry on top could be a unique Mory for Reptile, where he can spit acid into the survivor's face and have their face melt till it reaches bone. The outcome could look similar to Vecna's Mory. A Reptile skin with a unique Mory, unique animations, and voice lines would be so worth the price. I think the Wraith player base would actually increase if Wraith got a Reptile skin with all that. I just think that would be so cool. An interesting thought is what would Reptile uncloak with if he doesn't have a bell? I guess he can just scream or make a sort of noise that's loud enough to get the survivor's attention, but on top of that, I could see his weapon simply being his clothes. The Resident Evil 4 cosmetic of Dr. Salvador. I also mentioned this in the same video I mentioned the Reptile skin in. Having Dr. Salvador as a skin for Billy would just be perfect, and I feel we should have been gotten this skin by now. Although to be fair, that skin can very well still be on the way. The only thing I feel would kill the energy of this skin is Billy's chase music with the skin. A part of me really wishes we could get different chase music for legendary skins, but I understand why we don't, and it is what it is, I guess. I also think a unique Mory where Dr. Salvador straight saws your head off clean with the chainsaw would be iconic. Many people will likely just get the skin just for that crazy Mory, but who knows if the devs will wind up going that far for it. Cause if that's the case, I feel Knight should have been one of the first killers to decapitate survivors as his Mory. Some type of cosmetic that changes nurses' screams to something different, like laughing maniacally. Or even painfully sobbing. Suddenly hearing laughing and shit as she's warping closer and closer to me would definitely make my neck do a full 180. Thinking about, as I also had mentioned before in the earlier video, I don't think the sisters from RE Village would be a bad idea as a nurse skin, especially with the aesthetic of them always laughing and giggling like unhinged lunatics. I wouldn't mind an original visceral skin with this concept either, I just wouldn't know what exactly the visceral would be. 2018 Myers cosmetic. Don't get me wrong, the classic Halloween skin for Michael would always be legendary. In fact, that's exactly what the 2018 outfit is, just more war-torn and tattered, and he's actually taller compared to the original. I would like to have this cosmetic, it's generally a no-brainer at this point. Clayface cosmetic. I just think this one would be a fun, perfect cosmetic as a surprise Halloween special or a surprise collection in general. The bummer is, I barely see not a goddamn soul playing Hag. To be fair, the same could be said for artists and we still get some pretty cool cosmetics for her. I know for sure people, especially DC fans, will still buy the cosmetic if it's that good. For content too, at least a showcase, I'm sure people will still buy it. The cloning of Hag's body, the mud aspect, the teleportation, Clayface can easily be a legendary for Hag from a design standpoint. An interesting thing to mention if this was real is that Clayface is huge. So from the survivor's perspective, you would technically be playing against a tall Hag. which is cursed. They can do something unique with his weapon too, where every time he injures a survivor, his weapon changes mid cooldown. It could just be a set of 3 weapons that change in a clay formation. Weapons like an axe, mace club, and claws. A unique Mory where Clayface literally swallows a survivor from head to toe would be nuts as well.
Next, I will become you, Batman!
Doctor's face appears on screen again at a certain madness level. For some odd reason, the devs took away this visual on screen where you're in madness tier 2 or 3, you can see Doctor's face appear on the screen. It wasn't nothing too crazy, but I just think it added to the horror factor when facing Doctor. You can imagine constantly seeing the face of the killer that's trying to hunt you down. I also like to have this back. It was a nice visual touch to showcase just how powerful Doctor is, displaying how he can quite literally get in your head. A mean pink add-on that makes throwing hatchets at drop pallets break, at the cost of 3 hatchets being reduced. Add-ons cannot stack for hunters to have no more than 2 hatchets max. As this video is titled, I think this would be pretty unique. I'll likely ship myself against a good hunters using this add-on. When there's one last survivor remaining, a space prompt will immediately pop up saying tantrum. When pressed, Bubba would immediately initiate a tantrum animation reminiscent of the iconic ending of the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. This won't be anything big at all, but just a subtle quick reference towards the original film. Robert Englund cosmetic with voice lines.
Welcome to my world, bitch.
I'm confident this won't happen, but that's besides the point. Can you imagine? The iconic voice lines by Robert Englund himself, the face we're truly familiar with, a rework we already got that makes Freddy feel decent at bare minimum, along with a Mory reminiscent of Glenn's death. Here's my wallet. Chase music and additional intense music when you have the trap on your head. I think this will add more style and amusement to the reverse bear traps. Even if it's not that intense with the music, it'll be a cool addition nonetheless. I think Pig should have been had her own chase music, especially when we had that soul riff a while back. But it's just an unfortunate case of Pig being one of the handful of killers that has yet to have their own chase music. I would love something like this personally. Credits to Mr. Envy, of course, cause he be snapping on these tracks. Childhood character cosmetic. I was honestly thinking of the popular kids characters that are now under free domain. Clown being one of the many characters, maybe even having multiple characters as skins, would be great to see. It's this fairly recent trend of popular kids characters from the past becoming horror killers, because they will be the selected characters to be completely displayed as horrific killers rather than the innocent kids character for the modern generation. As camp as these movies appear to be, I have to appreciate the idea of them doing something different with these characters. Completely different. Seeing Clown dressed as Mickey Mouse chasing Nicolas Cage will probably be both one of the most goofiest and coolest things to see in the game. Hell, even seeing Clown have a Winnie the Pooh, Teletubby, Elmo, or Barney cosmetic would be pretty damn cool to see. Just the idea of a precious childhood character from your past chasing you is nuts. I say why not?
If you kill me, who gonna make him the good ass sandwiches? I'm just saying. I know you spit on my sandwich!
I like to see an additional layer to Spirit's map that reveals an Easter egg of her death. Maybe it can show the broken window where she had fallen through, or something like that. It can be like how Cold Tower has that upstairs section to the map where you can drop down. I always used to think one of the windows in Yamaoka's residence was the window Spirit got thrown out of. But if you look at the trailer again, you hear a thud shortly before she hits the floor. Which has to mean she's actually on the second floor when she got hacked up. Let me know, that's fucked up. So it would be cool if that whole second floor section was accessible and not cut off, before we can see an Easter egg display of what happened to her. To add to this, which I think would be interesting and even quite disturbing, is that if you were to idle for about 10 seconds in the room where Spirit got killed, you can eventually hear the moment she got killed and thrown out the window. I think this can make for a pretty nice Easter egg overall.
What the hell was that?
Jeff the Killer cosmetic. I always felt like this would have been so cool for Legion if it was even possible. This creation by Embassy shows one of the few concepts of the Creepypasta collection concept, with Jeff the Killer as Legion. I think it's a no-brainer for Jeff the Killer to be Legion. This needs no explanation. I would add that Jeff the Killer also has this silent factor about him. He tends to like to sneak up on you in the middle of the night before he kills you, stating, "Go to sleep." So it would be cool if he was a surprise Ghostface Legendary on the flip side. Then again, aesthetic wise, Jeff would be an odd choice for Ghostface. I feel Jeff would fit Legion more. He literally looks like he's already in the gang. Indoor only Temple of Purgation. I'll love this for the simple fact that I always had wanted an indoor only cave, tome type map in the game. I just think that would be great. I've never been a fan of the Temple of Purgation map itself besides what makes the map special. The Temple of Regation. Don't get me wrong, the map can be good on some killers like Singer, who can catch you over an open loop where the killer always sees you. But I appreciate the minor interior we do get, which is the temple itself. The isolation of the temple to where the temple becomes expanded to a full indoor layout I think will make for a unique map. Sure, indoor maps aren't the fondest of maps when it comes to being balanced, but I would admit they're way more visually appealing than outdoor maps, which tend to almost feel the same. I'd love to explore that immersion when it comes to a cave type map, and Temple of Regation is one of the closest maps that look like a cave, tome, whatever, you get where I'm going. Side note to add to this, but I also would have heavily appreciated if Laura got unique voice lines for specific maps she was on. So maybe you can say that in Laura's universe, she been had or was in the process of researching the Temple of Regation. She been heard about the plague, aka Dearest, the Black Veil's devotion to her, and her demise. I just think this would have been a fun idea to go forward with, since even in Laura's trailer and cover artwork, she's at the Temple of Regation. Make 2 Ghostfaces playable in 2v8. This won't happen. And if it did, it would clearly be the devs trying to please us. From DVD's lore accurate standpoint, there's only one infamous Ghostface, Danny Johnson. This is why I mentioned in one of my previous videos that it would have been cool if Ghostface's lore was told from a different perspective. It could have been a detective who was trying to catch many different Ghostfaces, similar to Kirby Reed, a celebrity sole survivor of Ghostface attacks, similar to Sidney Prescott, etc. This way, Ghostface's identity is anonymous. We wouldn't know if it's just one or multiple, which is almost always the case. It makes the lore more suspenseful from the player's perspective, since we also don't know who the Ghostface or Ghostfaces we are playing as. It can have the anonymous feel of a known's lore while still paying homage to Scream and the idea of it. Hopefully you get where I'm going with this. So with that being said, we obviously can't have 2 Ghostfaces running around. I'll personally love to see it just for Scream lore accuracy outside of the Ghostface we have, and I think it would be rather harmless. I mean, it would be far better than 2 Legions being playable. Demo enters the upside down during lobby animation. So what if Demo had a unique lobby animation where he entered the upside down in the same place, filtering your whole screen to look like you're in the upside down? You see how Freddy has his dream world filter? Picture an upside down filter where you would see Demo in the lobby. The transition from the normal world to the upside down in the lobby I think would have been genius in my opinion, but it is what it is I guess. Do you guys think this would have been unique? An Easter egg that if you use default Oni's mask on the Yamaoka estate map, go to the Oni Mask location and stand there for 5 seconds, just like in the teaser. Fire would erupt for a brief period, followed by a voice in Japanese saying, "Your blood is Yamaoka's." Nothing too crazy, but would make for a nice Easter egg. The cool thing about it is, it will be Spirit's map Easter egg meant for a different killer. Sure, this can be considered as Oni's map as well, technically, but you get what I mean. A deadly pink add-on that basically gives Deathlinger a magazine with increased reload speed. Slinger can shoot up to 2 times before reloading. However, reload speed will be slower as a result. I always thought of the idea of Deathlinger having the magazine, but I feel like it would have been too strong as well. Can you imagine what a S tier, 5-star rank, COD Sweat P100 Deathlinger with Save the Best for Last and the Gnome Charm would do to you? Let's just say chases would be non-existent throughout the trial because there's no way in hell you're getting away from that Deathlinger. Realistically though, I'm curious how you guys would feel about this. Funny enough for Pyramid Head, the one add-on I had in mind for him, I forgot we literally have now. The Obsidian Goblet add-on now breaks pallets and breakable walls when Pyramid uses Punishment of the Damned, with the drawback being that his power cooldown is increased by 20%. I always felt this idea would be cool as an add-on, and I'm glad we have it. A meme add-on that changes Blight's movement speed from 4.6 ms to 3.8 ms, nerf speed. However, Blight has 12 rush tokens. When rush ends by any means, it takes 8 seconds for the power gauge to fill and Blight to get all his rush tokens back. Blight's recovery speed after rush ends is decreased heavily, meaning he would recover his tokens quickly. So in all, Blight is slow, but as a result, he has more tokens to cover for it, making him a true crackhead pinball. When using the add-on, you have to become way more rush reliant and use your power in every circumstance, even to loop the tightest of loops that you have to adapt to while using rush, in order to down the survivor. This add-on may not be a challenge for your average P100 Blight, but for someone who's neutral with Blight, I can see it being quite the challenge. It'll be fun to use regardless, and that's why I would use it, but you would definitely have to know how to downward lethal rush consistently in order to make sure you make good use of the add-on, which I think would be fun. A cosmetic that fully changes Victor's appearance or maybe make him have a costume. It could be a variation of potential cosmetics like dolls, zombies, a type of alien breed, something. I don't play twins much at all, so I couldn't come up for nothing other than this really. Neon City Map. This is truly the most unique thing I wanted for Trickster. The map would give off this very vibrant look that I guarantee for sure would be many people's top favorite. There's no denying whether or not the map would be a hit or miss in terms of gameplay design from both perspectives, since that's just the roll of the dice when it comes to new maps. But it's inevitable that it would thrive in terms of style. That alone is untouchable. How many of you always wanted the infamous Neon City map for Trickster? Call zombies to his current location. For Nemesis to call zombies to his location always made sense to me, and I think it adds a special feature between Nemesis and the zombies besides him just being able to attack them. A way how they can do this is when Nemesis activates the call, one of the zombies spawn nearby the location Nemesis had directed them to as they gradually make their way towards it. The zombie also spawns with haste for a duration of 5 seconds, just to pick up the pace a bit for the zombie once they spawn. Now if the survivor happens to still be looping the area where you ping the zombie towards, the zombie can interfere and help you out a little. I don't see this working in too many scenarios to be honest, but maybe with the help of add-ons this could work more consistently. An honorable mention for Nemesis was the Lord Sadler skin with Ganados as the zombies. This was recommended by a friend of mine who had this brilliant idea of bringing Lord Sadler as a cosmetic for Nemesis, along with changing the zombies to Ganados. A collection of new Pinhead Cosmetics. I found this on Twitter posted by The Wheat a while ago, where these were apparently the scrap design cosmetics for Pinhead. The potential in these cosmetics would have been mind-blowing to see in game, if I'm being honest. I'm not even kidding. Some of these cosmetics look so out of this world by design, they make the original cosmetic look outdated. I would have loved to at least have a handful of these cosmetics. If I had to choose one and one only in particular, I would choose this one with the helmet. It looks the most out there out of them all in my opinion. On a side note, I seen the trailer to the new Hellraiser game coming soon and I really can't wait for it. It kind of reminds me of Outlast just with Hellraiser's theme and style, plus you can attack. It's not multiplayer, but that's okay because not every horror IP has to be asymmetrical or co-op in general. I'm just glad Hellraiser is getting some love in the gaming world because I think we should have at least got Pinhead in Mortal Kombat as a guest DLC a long time ago.
Hi, Peanut. I'm gonna need you to come with me right now.
I came.
So for Hellraiser to be coming back within the gaming world, hence the title, Revival, is pretty damn sick. When you go AFK as Artist, crows will start to crowd you and holler, almost like if you was feeding them a dead body. I just think this would be a nice little Easter egg to display how artists always tend to attract crows because of her nature. Nothing else to it really. An Easter egg that if you leave Sadako idle on the lobby screen for long enough, not only will she jump scare you, which we already know, but strange tapes will start to play to creep you out before returning back to the screen, basically displaying how Sadako is littered with the curse. Ghost Cosmetic. This Ghost Dredge cosmetic, by whose name I won't bother trying to explain, respectfully, looks nuts. I would love this Dredge cosmetic in game. The classic white sheet ghost for Dredge is such a perfect mix up because Dredge moves like a ghost. You just see it hover as it glides and maneuver its way towards you. On top of that, the addition of the lantern and the scissors top off the look, especially the lantern. It will be something pretty unnerving about seeing a navigating light in the distance as you're stranded in the dark during nightfall, likely trying to hide or escape. I can see in the Reddit post that the creator of this design won. So whatever happened to their cosmetic appearing in game, cause this is sick. In general though, I love this cosmetic in game. It looks way too cool. If this wasn't a concept and instead designed by the devs, this definitely would have been a skin to release during the Halloween event, because this skin screams Halloween and I love it. April Fool's modifier, 7 minutes. In this meme modifier, there are no perks, add-ons, items, or offerings. Wesker is the only playable killer in this mode against 4 survivors. Wesker has a time limit of 7 minutes to kill the survivors.
7 minutes. 7 minutes is all I can spare to play with you.
Wesker in this mode has 7 bounds and 7% haste. Bounds recovery rate is increased to a fair amount on the power gauge. Survivors in the mode have 7 generators to complete. Gen repair speed would be fast enough to cover in a 7-minute duration, so it won't be impossible to complete gens in time. Exit gates open faster, survivors have 7% haste, hook progress depletes faster and is linked with the time limit of the modifier. However, if Wesker is too close within the hook's proximity, the hook timer progress slows down. Every 20 seconds on the time limit, killer instinct is revealed to Wesker from all survivors. This mode I believe will be a hell of a fun time and will most likely make Wesker the meme king of Dead by Daylight. At least until we get something else to top a ridiculous modifier like this one. If this were real. A set of meme add-ons that lets you use only one specific guard during the whole trial. So say if you wanted to use assassins for the whole trial, you can. Your fellow guards will appear in the Mory but will be on lunch break during the rest of the trial. Skull Merchant Somori. It was a special kill that Skull Merchant did in one of her tomes that I wish can be a Mory somehow. Cause the more we have for Skull Merchant, I'm just not a fan of. Most aspects of Skull Merchant I'm not a fan of honestly, but the least I would give her is this gruesome ass Mory. If it was possible. One day I'm waiting for DBD to really cross that line in terms of gore factor. One day. It's cool that we're getting a Skull Merchant rework that's in plan though. If this rework becomes successful to the point where Skull Merchant is actually a fun killer to play, it'll be the most hysterical, cursed shit in the world to see people come to fall in love with Skull Merchant's gameplay. Seriously, seeing people hit the light switch on Skull Merchant and come to truly accept playing as and against her in DBD will probably be the second most monumental shit I've ever seen in this game in a long time. Kineticops cosmetic. I couldn't think of anything for Singularity besides this unique idea I had where the devs can take inspiration from Kineticops, who's from War of the Monsters. I just dig the design of this character, and I think it has potential to be a fun one for Singularity. The eye as a head is the main reason for this cosmetic being special, because it will correlate with his power design. So instead of the biopods looking how they will look like eyeballs. These eyes will remain closed until you use them, in which they will react like a functioning eyeball. When you slipstream survivors, it plants an eye on their back that blinks. A cherry on top would be the Mory, where Singularity implants a huge eye into the survivor's head, blasting their head open, only to see that the survivor has an eyeball for a head. I guess you can say Singularity really keeps his eye on them. Graphic Mory, but the cosmetic would sell like nuts. I think this would be a 10 out of 10 cosmetic overall because of how much is done with it in terms of style. If the devs manage to go that far, which I highly doubt since they don't redesign killers' power kits. Artist Dire Crows, for example. I would never take this cosmetic off for Singularity. It'll just be that damn good.
What's going on here?
A secret stage Mory Easter egg with the facehugger. So you may of course know by now the facehugger Easter egg on the Nostromo map. It's almost unavoidable. What if when you're playing as Zeno and the survivor is on last hook, if you carry them to that window with the facehugger, you can smash them through the window and the facehugger overtakes them, adding yet another human to the hive. A meme add-on that every time Chucky injures a survivor and or survivors by any means, all survivors within Chucky's hair radius scream and turn the same size as Chucky for a brief period before turning back. This one is highly unlikely and won't happen, but I would love to see it just for the comedic factor of it all. It will be so goofy. I think this will unironically make it difficult for Chucky to hunt the survivors down during this time, considering survivors would be as small as him, meaning it will be easier to hide as well. They could just give off heavier breathing sounds as a sound cue, but this add-on is meant to be a meme anyways. Cosmetics representing original survivors, similar to Bubba's survivor faces. So just like what Bubba happened to Mory the main survivors before he can collect their face, a known would collect their whole everything. Performing a Mory as a known on any original survivor that's already free content within the game, you will unlock their uncanny form for a known. What the fuck? Giving you a complete representation of the survivor you thought once was. A random add-on that lets Vecna only use his fly and fight of the damned abilities. However, the time recovery after using each ability is decreased heavily enough for Vecna to use these two abilities pretty consistently without much cooldown. These are the two abilities I use most on Vecna, so seeing an interesting add-on where half of your other abilities is sacrificed and you can only use two would be 50-50. I guess it's something I would need to see instead. That mage didn't really be coming in handy sometimes, so see what I did there? Handy.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Netflix Dracula cosmetic. This one is a no-brainer, mainly since I assumed we were gonna get Netflix Dracula when Dracula had released. I'm not a fan of Castlevania whatsoever, but ever since I watched the first and second season of the anime, I wanted this Dracula as a skin. This Dracula looks seriously depressed, miserable, and pissed. He even made the town rain with blood and limbs pouring out from the sky just to set a message about his dead wife. Not fucking with him. We need this cosmetic in game. Kujo Legendary cosmetic. I remember someone mentioning to me in the comment section of one of my videos that Kujo can be a legendary dog skin for Houndmaster. As much as I would want Kujo as a killer by himself, on second thought, I wouldn't mind Kujo simply being a legendary as well. I can just imagine a point in time where Kujo was taken by the entity, got lost in the fog, and ran into Houndmaster, who was so excited that Christmas came early. Kujo wasn't hostile towards Houndmaster whatsoever because the entity whispered in his ear that she'll take care of you now and you won't feel scared, making Kujo within DVD's universe eternally loyal to Houndmaster. The Kujo Legendary can also give you a unique Mory. I don't know what it could look like, but a different Mory is always a nice touch. A unique little Easter egg while using this skin that I think would be an additional nice touch is this. Say in the future of 2v8 if Dracula and Houndmaster are playable in this mode, if you have the Kujo skin equipped for Houndmaster, Kujo will continuously bark more than usual whenever Dracula is close to him in bat form, referencing the tragic moment when Kujo had gotten bitten. Just something I thought would be a clever detail for something we would never see in the game. Tokyo Ghoul Map. Looking at Kaneki's trailer, it kinda does suck that we don't have a Tokyo Ghoul map, giving us a slice of Tokyo from the universe of Tokyo Ghoul. Essentially squeezing in specific locations together like where Kaneki had gotten assaulted by Rize, in other words turned into a ghoul. The Anteiku, which is the coffee shop where Kaneki goes to full of ghouls, the ghouls accept him there, and prison where Kaneki was held by Jason during Kaneki's Please End My Life of Suffering extravaganza. Jason definitely has such sights to show him. But having an amalgamation of all those specific memories from Kaneki merged into one map set in Tokyo would have been sick. I do sometimes hate when there's something present in the trailer that isn't present in the game, but it is what it is realistically. I understand that it's just meant to make the trailers look more appealing. Grab survivors can be taken to springlock suits. When survivors are in the suit, they must face unique continuous skill checks. These skill checks get passively faster the more you hit them, but start off slow. However, missing 2 consecutive skill checks take a chunk out of your springlock timer, aka hook progress timer, so you must be aware. I think this would have been a great addition to Springtrap's kit, where he had a similarity to Pyramid's cages, technically a unique hook. Grabbing survivors can be tricky, so for that, your reward is being able to put that grab survivor in the springlock suit. How would you guys feel about that added mechanic for Springtrap overall? But those are each of the things I would give to the killers just to make them a tad bit more unique. Which one of these unique things is your favorite? Do you have a unique thing to add to a killer of your own? Let me know down below. Love y'all, take care, I'm gonna see y'all in the next one, and peace.
Chillin', killing.
Yeah.